Although, regardless of the fact that, although the main characters in the novel are so true to life, they are imaginary. Because of, for the reason that, global warming is increasing day by day because of deforestation. Despite, without being affected by, the overall economic condition is favorable, despite a few minor problems. However, used for giving surprising information. There are a number of possible references for the proposal. However, all are not effective. Therefore, as a result, or consequence, the government was unable to get funding and therefore had to abandon the project. Accordingly, in a way that is suitable, when the learners receive instructions, they need to act accordingly. Simultaneously, existing or occurring at the same time. Senior students can prepare simultaneously for both higher education and employment. Historically, with reference to past events, it is known that garlic was used as a medicine in many cultures historically. Regardless, despite the prevailing circumstances, regardless of labor shortage, the construction project must be completed on time. Apart from, except for someone or something. It was a difficult time. Apart from everything else, we had financial problems. Likewise, in the same way or manner, the bear population has increased, and likewise, so has the number of bear hunters. In other words, to explain something more clearly, Einstein was a great physicist in the world. In other words, he is a genius. On the contrary, used to add to a negative statement. The crime has not disappeared. On the contrary, it seems to be becoming worse again. Otherwise, under other circumstances, the test helps identify problems that might otherwise go unnoticed. Overall, in general, rather than in particular, their overall strategy is quite good, but one or two of the details could be improved. Due to, because of something, The art exhibition has been postponed indefinitely due to a lack of interest. So that subsequently or soon afterward, our government made initiatives so that we could have a good education. Meanwhile, in the intervening period of time, stress can be damaging to your health. Exercise, meanwhile, can reduce its effects. As soon as, in the shortest possible time, we were enthusiastic to start the science project as soon as possible. Thus, in the way just indicated, they determined to reduce the number of employees and thus to cut costs. As a result, because of something that has happened, the rate of crime has reduced in big cities as a result of public awareness. Over time, indicating for a long period of time, the man had practiced a lot and over time became quite an expert on the subject. Even though, despite the fact that she made a lot of spelling mistakes, even though it's quite an easy essay. On the other hand, used to introduce a contrasting point of view. Her husband likes reading books, she, on the other hand, likes listening to music. Nonetheless, despite what has just been said or referred to, there was still a long way to go. Nonetheless, some improvements had been made. Besides, over and above, in addition to, besides working as an engineer, he also writes novels in his spare time. For example, used for mentioning something as explanation. In North America, for example, child abuse laws and regulations are very stringent. Moreover, used for introducing additional facts. Texting while driving is dangerous, moreover, it's illegal in some states. In the meantime, in the period of time between two events, her first novel was rejected by 5 publishers. In the meantime, she had written a drama. In particular, specifically distinguished from others. The whole meal was good at the party, but the wine in particular was excellent. Conversely, Introducing statement that says opposite thing. American consumers prefer white eggs, conversely, British buyers like brown eggs. Unless. Describing the result if something does not happen. Wild animals generally don't attack people unless they are provoked by them. Until. Up to the point in time or the event mentioned. We never know the love of our parents until we become parents ourselves. Owing to. Introducing the reason for something. Owing to bad weather, the experimental project has been cancelled. On account of. Introduce the reason or explanation for something. The traffic jam was due to a terrible accident at the intersection. Since. From a definite past time until now. Children have been routinely immunized against polio since 1960. In order to. With the aim or purpose of doing something. They should read the articles in order to understand more about the science. Prior to. Existing or happening before something else. She was vice president of the company for 6 months prior to becoming chairman. As long as. During the whole time. We can keep our environment healthy and safe as long as we take good care of it. Subsequently. At a later or subsequent time. A panel investigated the company's misconduct and it was subsequently fined. Hence. That is the reason or explanation for. A suitable working environment improves workers' performance and hence productivity. In the past. Gone by in time and no longer existing. In the past, the central government had a monopoly on television broadcasting. Traditionally. As part of a long-established custom. Agricultural work is traditionally seen as a male occupation in many societies. Such as. Similar to like for introducing examples. Harmful activities such as logging and mining diminish our environmental resources. In spite of. Without being affected or prevented by. In spite of their very different qualifications, they immediately became friends. While. A period or space of time. We saw many interesting sights while roaming around the capital city. Furthermore. Used when adding a connected statement. Our National Museum is elegant. Furthermore, it's in a suitable location. Not only but also. Used to present two related pieces of information. Not only will they paint the outside of the house but also the inside. Also. In addition to something else. Einstein was a brilliant physicist. He was also a talented violin player. For instance. As an example, for example. His grandparents, for instance, don't know how to use an automatic teller machine. Correspondingly. Having an obvious similarity. The new exam is longer and correspondingly more difficult to pass. Notably. In a way that attracts or deserves attention. The company is started to attract investors, most notably big Chinese banks. To clarify. Explain something more clearly. At the meeting, the president was forced to clarify his position on the issue. Rather, to indicate one's preference in a particular matter. Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. Similar to. A person or thing similar to another. The design of the new castle is similar to those that have already been built. If. In a possible or imagined situation. You would be paid double if you get the work finished by this week. In case. A precaution against the event that. The hospital has a backup generator in case there is a power failure. Provided that. Only if a particular thing happens. Provided that the train leaves on time, we should reach our destination by morning. To sum up. Give a brief summary of something. To sum up, the prices of daily commodities should be set at a reasonable cost. As. Used when we compare two people, things. As the music show increases in popularity, more and more tickets are sold daily. Straight away. Without any delay, immediately. The company has found a radical solution to the problem straight away. Eventually. In the end, especially after a long delay. The students found the lessons hard, and eventually lost concentration. Consequently. Used to indicate cause, effect, and outcome. Relations between the two countries had, consequently, never been close. Up to the present time. The circumstances and ideas of the present age. The trend was subsequently established and is still in use up to the present time. Recently. At a recent time, not long ago. He was in Congress for 30 years, but he recently retired from public life. Yet. Used in negative statements and questions. We don't like rain, yet we live in the state with the most rainfall. Nevertheless. In spite of that, however. The central bank is guarded around the clock, but robberies occur nevertheless. Whereas. In contrast or comparison with the fact that the old method was fairly complicated, whereas the new method is very simple. In addition, to add an extra piece of information. In addition to a competitive salary, the company offers attractive employee benefits. As well as, with equal reason or an equally good result. The company advertised its products on televisions as well as in newspapers. To illustrate. Serve as an example of. To illustrate my point, I have done a comparative analysis of the topic. Similarly, showing that ideas are related or connected. Cars must stop at red traffic lights. Similarly, bicycles have to stop too. To demonstrate. Clearly show the existence or truth of something. A few attempts have been made to demonstrate environmental challenges. Especially used to single out one person or thing over all others. It will be easy and comfortable to work, especially when it's warm and sunny outside. Alternatively, as another option or possibility. The travel agency will buy a ticket for you. Alternatively, you can buy it on your own. Different from. Not the same as another, or each other. It is completely different from other festivals because it has a historical background. Whether. Expressing a doubt or choice between alternatives. We have to accept that they are part of our lives, whether we like it or not. In general. In most situations, or for most people. The climate is in general cold and humid, especially in the northeast. In short. For introducing a summary of something. In short, we have to decide whether to continue losing money or change the business. In conclusion. Used to introduce the final comments at the end. In conclusion, I submit that the proposal will not work without some major changes.